Hi, I'm Lazy Universe, and I'm White and Nerdy, and I want you to think about the most boring anime that you have ever seen in your lifetime, because I can guarantee you, nothing gets close to Wolverine. Hello, and welcome to a Lazy Review, and today it is a Lazy Review of the Wolverine anime. Now, I know what you guys are thinking. Shouldn't this be awesome? I mean, it's freaking Wolverine, one of the most popular X-Men ever invented. Yes, and no. See, Wolverine is one of the most successful X-Men that was ever created. But unfortunately, he has still some issues that he needs to, well, I don't know what's the word I'm thinking of, work out. So, this anime was brought on to us by not only Marvel, but also Madhouse Studios. And I gotta say, the Marvel Studio executives were really on board with making Wolverine into a franchise. They did this with Blade, Iron Man, X-Men, and Wolverine, and supposedly Spider-Man. But I think that's when Spider-Man was in legal limbo, so no one really knew who owned him, truthfully. But it still is up there. I own Blade, Wolverine, and X-Men, and I have not yet to find Iron Man, but I guess at some point I probably will. And it's nice to notice that this is based on the Frank Miller Wolverine stories when Wolverine was technically a samurai, where he married a woman named Mariko in Japan, and that's where the story takes place. But this should be an awesome anime! Well, yes, and no, because well, you see that this should be an awesome freaking anime that anybody could be down with. It is unfortunately not without its shared flaws. So, what does Wolverine have that other anime don't? Well, on the plus side, it had some great fight scenes, but there are way too many episodes where characters are given exposition dump after exposition dump after exposition dump, where it suddenly just doesn't take itself as seriously as it needs to, truthfully. Though I'll be the first one to admit that the Wolverine anime does have some pretty good animation going for it, especially from Madhouse Studios, one of my favorite anime studios. And I gotta hand it to them that they got some pretty awesome enemies in this, including some pretty awesome team ups. But why is this so boring then? Well, the answer, in all honesty, comes in pretty quickly, in particular with like episode 5 or 6. So why this is so boring? See, like any great anime or comic book, you really have to focus on a simple narration. You have to focus on what is there and what is going on with our main character, in this point particular, Logan Howlett or Wolverine. See, the anime kind of gets off really quickly about what Wolverine is going through in Japan. And, well, yes, it is interesting to have him in Japan, similar to, like I said, the Frank Miller Wolverine series and also the Wolverine movie that I'm a fan of. So, the simplistic idea comes off pretty quickly. It's Wolverine going up against basically Silver Samurai. Yet, with all the unique cameos, such as Cyclops, Omega Red, and some other Wolverine characters, and also some mutants and X-Men, why doesn't this series hold up like it should? I think that comes off pretty quickly. In particular, it comes off with the narration of this. This just might be the most really boring or asinine anime that I've ever seen. Not saying that it's like so bad that you can't enjoy it, but even if you were to watch this, it really had more of the narration of I should do something, and yeah. One of the studio executives that worked on this and one of the special features said people can watch this and imagine, that they are Wolverine, that as soon as they get home from like a stressful day, they can pop claws and go animal. But this anime in particular doesn't feel like I can go animal and whatever, whether I mean the Sesame Street animal or like the 3 Days Grace on the animal I have become, because after a while, this series really does start to get boring, and boring is not good in theory of an anime. I'm not saying that an anime always has to be about fight scenes, fight scenes, fight scenes, fight scenes, but it would help out. And also, in particular, it doesn't help with a lot of the boring narration that this anime has. There are so many times in this anime where people feel like we are doing something, but instead it's just really boring and repetitive, and mostly they're not doing nothing but talking. This is supposed to be about Wolverine, one of the most famous X-Men of all time. But unfortunately, it's just this goddamn boring. I want you to do me a favor. Picture your most favorite anime ever, whether it be Sailor Moon, Dragon Ball, Bleach, One Piece, Naruto, or even obscure titles that I haven't heard of. Just whatever you can think of. Even if it's fucking hentai, I don't care. Think about like one of the most unique scenes in it, like Sailor Moon fans can say, for example, her transformation sequence, which I will admit is pretty badass. Some people in Dragon Ball will be the fight scenes that Goku goes through, or Vegeta, or Trunks, and understandable. Or people say in Yu-Gi-Oh, like when Yugi summons a very powerful monster, like for example, Try for the Sky Dragon, which is an awesome summoning sequence. But imagine that before we get to any of those scenes, the characters have to do one giant, and I do mean giant, long, boring explanation that you or I just don't give a damn about, but they have to do it just to run in time. And then imagine after some really good fight scenes or really good episodes, you get boring, 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 blah, 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 blah. I am the villain, blah, 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 blah. I am the hero, blah, blah, blah. We must fight. When followed by scenes of just boring pattern. Funniest thing is with this anime though, is that it had the voice talent of Steve Bloom voicing Wolverine. You might be thinking, that's pretty damn awesome. It is, except for the fact that you don't often hear the amazing Steve Bloom voice for Wolverine, because it's just mostly focusing upon padding this anime out. And I am not mistaken, I think that this anime is 24 episodes long, so it gets boring and repetitive very quickly. Now, hear me out. Every episode in this anime is about a little over 20 minutes long. It feels like an hour or longer when we really have to pad shit out in this anime. And I am not joking. I have once tried to watch this front to back, and it took, and during one episode, one very boring episode about a death trap and how to get into the city, I swear to God, it felt like the whole day has passed by because it was so boring and there was so much talking and so much "what do we do about it" sequences that I'm just like, is something even happening in this anime? And you will ask yourself that question a lot when it comes to this. That's great. Let's ask ourselves, is something happening? Because more than likely, no. Nothing is happening. It's just boring, 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 explanation, explanation, boring, exposition dump. This is about Wolverine, the most famous Marvel superhero of all time, next to Spider-Man or even Captain America. How is this boring? I think I've said it once, so I'll say it again, that it does have some unique fight scenes that go for it, but there are so many scenes where this just goes repetitively just boring. What pains me is that they have thought this through. They have actually done this with Madhouse. And you can't blame the Japanese in this situation because, well, by the time that they hear about these superheroes, and Japan does have manga, they don't have actual, as far as I know anyway, official English translated stuff, or even if they get things from America, it's kind of difficult for them to kind of like do a translation of it. As far as my knowledge, I could be talking out of my ass by this point. But within these series, they do have some pretty interesting villains, such as for the X-Men anime, the Human. For Blade, it's Deacon Frost. It's always Deacon Frost. For Iron Man, I have no idea. Could be Jebediah Stane for all that I know. And Wolverine, it's the Hand, Silver Samurai, and whoever else that they can pick from the Marvel Universe. This feels like the most confusing MCU movie. This would be like if we had, you know, Hugh Jackman come on screen and then he talks, about being Wolverine, and then all of a sudden we have a cameo from Sir Patrick Stewart, and then we have a cameo for some weird reason from Tobey Maguire, then we have another cameo about a character that we don't care about from the Wolverine movie, like that woman that can use poison. You would have the most confusing movie of all time. And I don't think it had to do with like translation issues or, the overseas Marvel company doing this. No, 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 no. No. Someone have goofed up this story. Someone. I'm not saying it's the writer of the series. I'm not saying it's the director of the series. I'm not saying that it's Studio Madhouse. It could be an executive at Marvel for all I know. But all I do know is that they have produced one of the most boring and asinine anime about one of their most cherished and beloved characters. Now, I don't know if Hugh Jackman has ever seen this series. I don't even know what Steve Bloom has said about this series. But I know one thing overall. This is just so damn boring to try and watch and visualize. And let me tell you something. I don't even think it's 24 episodes. I think it's like 12. But it feels like a 24 episode anime where just episodes just get so boring and repetitive. Now I know that, and again, not every anime has to have fight scenes. I get that. There are some really great animes that have really good explanations or even just time just to kind of take a break away from all of like the fight scenes and everything that has happened. I get that. I get it. Just like Yu-Gi-Oh sometimes takes breaks from the duos that go on in the anime. Hey, whatever floats your boat, I'm okay with. It's just the thing is though when you have these explanation scenes or exposition scenes or episodes, you have to have some important narrative to go off of when you're talking about like, the main villain or the hero journey or quest throughout anything. Comic book, manga, movie, video game, whatever. You know what the hero's quest is. I still don't know, after all these years, what Wolverine's quest is. And if it is to go after Mariko, the woman that he loves, have you seen the Wolverine movies? How many people that he's fallen in love with? I mean, yeah, fighting for your love, that's always important and everything. I'd even support that message, but for Wolverine, truthfully, going through all this shit, all this hardship for the woman that he loves, I have to ask just one question, and I have nothing against fighting for true love or anything, but I have just one question. Why, in the holy name of God, doesn't Mariko do anything about this the entire anime? So we know that Silver Samurai is Mariko's father. We understand this. Mariko could be doing something about this, but she never does. Her father basically kidnaps her, keeps her prisoner so she can't see James, and yet he wants to kill Wolverine. This is truly the worst case of the "you're grounded" sequence from parents. Parents sometimes take away your television, they take away, your internet, they take away your gaming devices, whatever have you, computers. But to have your parent just say this to you and go, You are not allowed to see this man ever again. But I love him, Father. No, no. We are going to go to an isolated place all the way out in a foreign country, and you are never going to see him again. Even if he does somehow develop superpowers, or he can pop adamantium claws at any every moment, we are not going to have him be with you. You are grounded for 5 years. It sounds ridiculous, doesn't it? But I do understand probably why this is the same because the important message behind the X-Men had always been discrimination. That's why they were created in the 60s by Stan Lee and Jack Kirby, kind of as a message to discrimination, especially for in the real world and how it exists here. Discrimination against gay people, bisexuals, black people, Asians. The list goes on and on. So I get the message behind it, but unfortunately, Wolverine is still, to me, one of the most, if not, for me personally, the most boring anime that I have ever seen. I know that there are people out there probably watching this video going, this anime, insert name here, is more boring than you expect. And you could be right, but then again, because I'm optimistic, I could find something I love about it compared to something that you hate about it. And if you have with Wolverine, you're free to tell me. But for me, Wolverine, the Marvel animated series, or just anime, and basically, is just one of the most boring produced anime to come from Madhouse. The people behind One Punch Man. Yeah, I want you to think about that. One Punch Man, one of the most goofiest, over the top, but excellent superhero anime, is more of a superhero anime than the actual superhero anime I'm holding here. If you're interested or so inclined to check out Wolverine the anime, I'd highly recommend that you probably should check it out, but just beware, it is very long and boring. So, thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Join me at Twitter with the link in the description down below. And tell me if you have seen the Wolverine anime, what you think about it. Did you like it? Did you hate it? Let me know in the comment section down below because I sincerely hated it. I think even though it was technically a little bit more boring than Wolverine, I appreciated the X-Men anime a lot more than this one, truthfully. I haven't seen all of the Blade anime yet. I haven't gotten myself to get past certain up to like past episode like either 5 or 6, so I'm gonna have to try to attempt that at some point. But thank you guys for watching anyways, and thank you for joining me on this lazy review. I'm Lazy Universe, I've been white and nerdy, and keep geeking on.